This might just be me doubling down, but fuck it. I don't think Kyle Busch is going to come anywhere close to where he did last year. And while RCR is one of the greatest teams in NASCAR history, I don't think they have the pieces to give Kyle what he needs.
Bruh, look at this dude. Wait till you see the... No.
Hey, yo!
I tried to tell you, with the way he finished up last year, old KB was in for quite the kerfuffle come 2024. And now, what was once thought borderline impossible has been realized and then some. Not only will he be finishing sub-16th in the points, but could very well see his first winless season in the Cup Series. What a time to be alive. And thank God I didn't have to talk about his teammate making it in. I mean, could you imagine a sub-30th place team making the playoffs?
Harrison Burton wins in Daytona!
Shit. Let's just get into it. Starting off with the teams that actually deserve to be here, 2311 Racing. In just their third year of being a two-car operation, that second car has found itself at the top, officially crowned as the 2024 regular season champion. Sure, it hasn't been built on wins so much as many more second-place finishes, but it just goes to show that even in the goofy-aw playoff format, consistency is key. I said last year that Tyler Reddick could be a sleeper pick. Now, he might be the favorite, provided he takes some Tums before the next race. This guy. I don't know how he does it. I mean, we already hail him as the second coming, but somehow Kyle Larson continues to impress us year in and year out. I mean, the dude missed out on an entire race, an entire weekend's worth of points, and still only finished 1 point back from the regular season title. That's a scary level of consistency, and if that wasn't enough, he's also led the league in wins and points for most of the year so far. Safe to say Hendrick's getting his money's worth, but as we've come to know, that price can be pretty steep. When Kyle Larson's on, he's the best race car driver in the world. But when he's not, he kinda tears the whole damn thing to pieces and takes the whole field with him. His over-aggression in key moments can be a resounding advantage, but also an embarrassing weakness, one that's lost him just about as many races as it's won him. With the top seed and a 35-point cushion to boot, he can afford to dial it back a bit, but if there's one thing we know about Kyle, that's not really his style. Thank God NASCAR's real golden boy found victory again. I thought we were slipping back into the dark ages like we did with Dale Jr. With one more win to honor the Underbird before whatever the hell is happening with Hooters now, Chase Elliott is back in the NASCAR playoffs. He's had himself a solid season, though compared to last year, just keeping his leg intact and suppressing the urge to commit vehicular manslaughter is good enough. And now he has a chance to win his second championship. One area where he's noticeably lacking, however, is in wins. I mean, when was the last time someone had one win at this point and still won the championship? Oh, last year? Shit. Speaking of that one-win wonder, Ryan Blaney, welcome to title defense. The past 13 have been unsuccessful, but hey, maybe you'll break the mold. You've already got one more win than you did at this point last year, and if we're being honest, should probably have at least one more. So you've got to be feeling good, right? Right? Just don't look at that graphic. You've got this. You know, after last season, I had high hopes for Billy Byron. He came out guns ablaze, he went through guns ablaze, he wrapped things up guns ablaze, minus the final 101 laps, and this year seemed to be no different. In the first 8 races, he won Daytona, dominated COTA, and spearheaded a memorable Martinsville victory in one of the single most beautiful cars I've ever seen. Since then, however, things have sort of flatlined. While he's still been consistent enough to keep himself in the hunt, he's also had 3 DNFs in the past 5 weeks. Not exactly indicative of a championship contender, and nowhere near the level he was at last year. In 2023, he made the 24 look like it was back with Jeff Gordon, but this year it looks more like it did with Elliott. Good, but not good enough. It's hard to believe we have to go this far just to find a Gibbs car, though it makes sense that the first would be the 20. While his teammates have wavered, Christopher Bell has quietly been the only thing even keeping Joe Gibbs in the talk for a title, keeping the team's 10-for-10 streak of Championship 4 appearances alive and well. Can the baby-faced assassin make it 11? Only time can tell, but if he does, hopefully this year's trip to Phoenix goes better than his last 2. I wonder what freak occurrence will keep him from the Cup this year. I figured BK would be stronger this year, but I didn't think the whole damn pendulum would swing. Brad Keselowski has officially brought the flagship back to the forefront. A bridesmaid no more, but I have to admit, this playoff berth comes with way less comfort than his last one. A year ago, RFK was barreling into the playoffs with 3 wins in 5 weeks, literally the inverse of Byron this year. But now, they're entering 1 man down and 4 months removed from their last win. It was a cathartic win to be sure, but 4 months is a long time. With his teammate missing out on the postseason entirely by 1/1000th of a second, I'm not sure how Brad can feel any more confidence this time around. Maybe they'll let him drive the convertible? Probably has less drag.
It's our year. I just feel like we've got it all put together. We got the speed, every single type of racetrack, and nothing to stop us at this point.
Would you tell people it's finally this year's the year you're going to win the championship? Just call it.
All right, this is it. This is the year. This is the year it's going to happen.
Why do you keep doing this to yourself, Denny? There's no question that confidence can be a virtue. Just ask his business partner. But without the hardware to match, it's just embarrassing. 3 consecutive times he's fallen short in the championship 4, and in the 2 seasons since, he hasn't even made it that far. Thanks, Ross and Ryan. Very seldom have we seen a driver consistently come this close to the cup without actually getting it, and it has me wondering, is Denny past his prime? Sure, he's still winning races, but as far as the championship is concerned, the window may already be shut. He now enters the playoffs with his lowest seed since 2018, a truly dark time for the Ham fans, who are just hoping and praying it'll all finally come together. That's right, my friends, marinate in your delusions. Oh hey look, it's Chase Elliott Light, back in the playoffs with a single win after missing out last year. You'll have to excuse me if I don't sound too enthused, but 10 times in a day I hear that Alex Bowman is underrated. And yet here he is, driving for the best team in NASCAR, yet almost sitting 100 points away from all of his teammates. I don't doubt that he can be better, we've seen it before. But as of right now, I continue to sit, waiting for him to prove me wrong.
Do something, cat.
I feel a similar sentiment toward J-Lo. While he certainly has looked better in this go-around than the last, he's still just lacking. And I'm sorry, Logano fans, you could spam my comment section all you want, but when there were 2 laps to go in Nashville, he was in 14th place. He did not deserve to win that race, but lest we forget, this is what he does best. Joey Logano, while a great race car driver in his own right, has built a career on turning things up at the right time. Beating the Big 3 in 2018, snookering a spot away from Harvick in 2020, running away with it in 22. I'd say he has no hope of going all the way, but it is an even-numbered year, so I guess it's time for Joey to turn on the jets again. Just maybe don't do it on pit road after the race. That's definitely not the right time. Who would have thunk that of the Trackhouse tandem, it would be Danny Suarez making it in? While the world around him's devolved into chaos, he's been sitting pretty for over 6 months now. Must be nice, but now it's time to lock back in. 3 consecutive top 10s is a start, but in pursuit of the championship, it's not going to be enough. He might have gotten the extension he was looking for, but if he wants more, he's going to need to win more. Andale, andale. Besides that kind of fluky win in St. Louis, Austin Cindric has proven me right in just about every way. Constantly underperforming, trailing his teammates in the points, way below the top 16, the dude just doesn't have it. But oh my god, I can't hate him. No matter what happens the next 10 weeks, this goofy, interviewing, lip-syncing, tuba-tootin' dude will always have a spot in my heart. And hey, I'd much rather have this Austin in the playoffs than the other one. Never getting over that. As I stood in line getting ready to drive a go-kart, a time that should be reserved for jubilation, I was glued to my phone screen and terrified. Despite all of the evidence saying that he shouldn't have even come close, there he was, Kyle Busch in 2nd place on fresher tires with only a handful of laps to go. I thought I'd have to scrap the whole intro to this video, and that all those mean commenters would get the last laugh after all. But then...
Chase Brisco wins the Southern 500 and is going to the playoffs.
My best prediction of the year, only made possible by my second best. Chase Brisco is in the playoffs, and what a way to do it, too. During SHR's final soiree, we get to see Tony Stewart's number 14 in victory lane at least one more time. I know I'm supposed to be hating, but goddamn, this one felt good.
Kyle Busch did make the playoffs. Yes!
Remember when I had a manic episode over the 32nd place car making the playoffs? I put it akin to last year's Detroit Pistons, a team that lost 5 times more games than they won, making the NBA playoffs. Utterly inconceivable, a feat that shouldn't be possible to begin with. But at least thanks to NASCAR's ruling, I could rest easy, knowing that all was right and justice had been served. But then Harrison Burton came in and honestly made it worse. The dude is 34th in points. 34th! And he has made the postseason. In this case, you can't even make a comparison to another sport because there are no sports with that many teams to begin with. Every year we deal with secured first-round exits, but never have we dealt with one so low in the standings. And with that considered, of all the playoff party crashers we've ever seen, this very well could be the worst one. Look, I have nothing against Harrison. He beat the system fair and square and gave the Wood brothers their long-awaited 100th win. But that's just it. That's what we should be talking about. The win, not the yellow windshield banner that comes with it. I defy you to convince me that this isn't the easiest first-round bounce ever, which as far as I'm concerned just makes it a waste of a spot. One that could have gone to Buescher or Wallace or Chastain or literally anyone more deserving. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I would have rather seen Austin Dillon, the imitator himself, in the playoffs. It honestly would have been more deserved. Don't agree? Look at the scoreboard. None of this is to say that I'm not happy for the Wood brothers. They're one of the oldest teams in NASCAR and have hosted the likes of David Pearson, Cale Yarborough, Neil Bonnet, Ryan Blaney, all-time legends of the sport. Which is why I will be damned if the first time they win a NASCAR Cup championship is with Harrison fucking Burton. All right, let's move on. Something Harrison won't be saying after the first round. This is more what I envisioned last year. More like the Ty Gibbs we saw in the Xfinity Series. Not shocking the world, but still consistent enough to make the postseason on points alone. That being said, I could have sworn he'd have at least one win by now. Note to self, take care of your tires like you're taking care of your disciples. Hey, if it's any consolation to all three of the Ty Gibbs fans watching, he's still running pretty good. If recent results are an indicator, he should make some serious noise. Hopefully on the track, not in his interviews. The same cannot be said for the last member of the Gibbs Brigade. It's hard to believe this guy was leading the points earlier in the year, and now he finds himself in unfamiliar territory, dead last in playoff seeding. How did we get here, you might ask? 12 weeks, 9 sub-20th place finishes. Don't let the qualifying results fool you. Martin Truex is about as far from contention as he's ever been. He doesn't have the cars, he doesn't have the crew, he certainly doesn't have the crew chief, and you know what? I'm just gonna say it. Ever since he announced his retirement, he has not been the same driver. And the worst part? Every time it looks like he's about to turn things around, maybe finish top 5, maybe even, God forbid, win the race, it all goes to shit. Every single time. I give full props to Rowdy Nation for having it the toughest, but this year hasn't been a cakewalk for us Truex fans either. And for the first time since I can remember, I honestly don't think he can win the championship. Not with the way things are going. Whether or not he gets eliminated, all I hope is that he goes out with one more trip to victory lane. He deserves as much. And with that, we finally made it. 26 weeks of racing to make way for the next 10. How will things shake out? I think I have a pretty good idea. First up, we have Atlanta, where, Justin Haley's gonna win. But then Watkins Glen makes its playoff debut, and in trying to show off to his new teammate Juan Pablo Montoya, Tyler Reddick will take his 4th career road course win. Then the bill comes due in Bristol, where Christopher Bell saves enough tire to outlast the rest, and the journey ends for Burton, Cindric, Suarez, and... Look, I hope I'm wrong about this. The last thing I want to see is my driver go out in the same way that Harvick did, but let's take a look at MTJ's last playoffs. In 2023, a time when he was expected to be running at the very front, the only race Martin finished higher than 9th was the last one, and by then it was already too late. Hell, the only reason he made it so far to begin with was because he had entered each round with the number 1 seed and the points cushion that came with. Well, this year he's entering on the other side of the board. And without the security he had last year, I just don't see things panning out for Truex's last title bid. But as is with most of my predictions, I really hope I'm wrong. Martin, please prove me wrong. The next round opens in the Heartland, where Kyle Larson wins once again, this time by a slightly wider margin, and then we trek to the southeast, where Chase Elliott scores a redeeming 3rd dub in Dega. After that comes the Roval, where Denny delivers and Brisco, Bowman, Logano, and Keselowski do not. I know a lot of people have Brisco getting bounced straight away, but remember, he almost shocked the world minutes before the Hail Melon 2 years ago. He's got what it takes to go far, but in the case of this year, I think this is as far as he goes. In a dogfight with his championship rival, Tyler Reddick will flip the script in Vegas to secure his first trip to Phoenix. Then, please God, please let me be right about this, an already eliminated Martin Truex will take his final checkered flag fittingly in Miami. And lastly, Larson will take yet another grandfather clock to once again punch his ticket. Joining him, much like last year, will be Byron and Bell, while Gibbs, Blaney, Elliott, and Hamlin all take early trips to Cancun. There it is, your 2024 Championship 4. I think. I don't know. I'm probably wrong, but at least I got that Kyle Busch prediction right. Right? Get ready. I'm going to be riding this for the next 30 years. Happy playoffs.